I know. Got another stepped up college basketball boost, so I can't wait to hit another 9 out of 10.
It's going to be fantastic.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, Ricky Blair. On today's episode, we're going to break down the AFC and NFC Championship games. Two huge games, obviously, with the winners going to the Super Bowl. That's typically how it works. I don't know if you guys at home knew that, but that's how it normally works whenever you get to the AFC and NFC title game. As always, joined by my partner here, Mr. Clarkson. How are you today, man?
Oh, doing all right this morning. A little tired, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. Been dragging ass all weekend, but hopefully we'll get to watch some good football today.
Yeah, hopefully we win some money today. After
that too.
Well, look. The thing about it is my guy over here had two bets this week, two college basketball parlays that hit 9 of 10 bets. I feel like there should be like a button you click that you like double down your money. And if you hit like 9 of 10, you can hit, that'd be pretty awesome. But it was quite a
2 nights in a row.
Yeah, literally 2 days in a row. And then actually a third day in a row. It was only 2 of 3, but still, it felt like every parlay that you were betting on the last few days has failed by just a singular loss. So we're going to get back on track this week. I don't even remember my picks from last week, so that's pretty cool. Do you have yours out too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I do have ours out. Yeah, we had a rough week last week too. Was it 1, 2, 3?
Started off hot on Saturday.
Strong. I think we were 6-7 last week. So our playoffs are not living up to our regular season currently. I think that puts us at 7-5 in week 1. 6, so 13-13 to be exact in the playoffs so far. But do a quick rundown recap of your plays from last week.
Went 3-3. Started Saturday 3-1, and would have probably been 4-0 if Jamal Agnew hadn't fumbled that. Jamal Agnew, right?
Yeah,
that's his name. If he hadn't fumbled the ball inside the 5-yard line, then Trevor Lawrence probably gets a second touchdown pass. So ipso facto, Trevor Lawrence over 1.5 touchdown passes was a loss. All 3 of my Eagles bets hit, which was first one was Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown scorer. Second one was Saquon Barkley under 99.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I think he finished at like 61 total yards or something like that. I mean,
they got most Eagles, of those in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Eagles absolutely bottled him up. And then my other Eagles bet was my lock of the week, which is Eagles minus 2.5, and then the Eagles raced to 5 points. So they covered that very easily, and then obviously scored the first touchdown. So that race to 5 points was pretty easy there. And then on Sunday, didn't do so hot. Brandon Ayuk over 54.5 receiving yards. They really weren't throwing the ball around as much as I expected in that game. Obviously, had 2 top 5 defenses, but you think somebody's going to have to do something at some point, but it just never actually happened, and had probably one of the funniest end of game plays I've ever seen in my life. But the Cowboys are going to cowboy. What else can you expect? And then my other pick, which was probably my favorite one of the weekend, which at plus money I thought was going to be just an easy bet to hit, was Jamar Chase over 69.5 receiving yards and Stephon Diggs over 64.5. I don't know if you saw Stephon Diggs at the end of that game, but he was absolutely unloading on Josh Allen on the sideline for not getting him the ball more, I guess. But I think he had 3 catches for like 18 yards. It was a poor performance by the Bills all around, as the Bengals pretty much dominated that game. But yeah, so I went 3-3 on the week, did hit my lock. So I guess I was up 1 unit.
Yeah.
So cool. That's how math works.
I think I went 2-4. And then, of course, we had the one bet that we decided to jointly do last week together. But Debo Samuel, Burrow, Debo over 50 total yards, Burrow over 250 passing yards. Burrow ended with 242 passing yards. So that's good times. We probably would have hit 250 if it wasn't for that non-catch bullshit at the end of the game. Brock Purdy over 1.5 touchdown passes. The guy had hit that like 9 straight games, and then out of nowhere, did he even throw one last week? I don't even know. I don't think he threw a touchdown.
I don't think he did.
Because I think there was only 1 touchdown by them. Yeah, he didn't have one. No, he was 19 of 29 for 214 yards. 3-team teaser last week. Bengals plus 15.5, which obviously hit. Over under Kansas City, Jacksonville, 42 hit as well. And then I think I'm pretty positive. No, yeah, yep. I had the Giants plus 21, which was not even a fact thing. And then of course Graham Gano, which was a late addition to my picks last week for getting 2 extra points. Did not in fact get 2 extra points because when you score 7 points, that means you didn't score 2 touchdowns. But 2 bets that I did hit were all Bengals. Bengals over over 9.5 first half total points. That was my lock of the week. And then Bengals over 2.5 total touchdowns. That looked very good at first, and then they just didn't score for a while. So then they scored in the third quarter, which was really nice. But Bengals kind of manhandled that game. And then, of course, we had the joint play of Joe Burrow over 1.5 touchdown passes. So not the greatest of weeks, but you know what? You know what they say, you got to get up and try again. So that's what we're going to do this week. We've got, I think, 12 plays. Even though listen, this is what happens. I text Clarkson yesterday and I go, hey, man, I don't really have, I don't know if I can find 5 plays this week for 5 plays.
I think this was on Friday where you texted me and said, I'm struggling to find 3 picks that I like.
Yes. And then Clarkson hits me with like 5 right back to like just a whole block of plays that he liked. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we went down to the well in these 2 games. I think we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays apiece. Holy cow. All right. So this should be a fun weekend. We've got some crazy ones. We've got some fun ones. We got some plus money. We got some minus money. Clarkson, go ahead and hit me with your first bet of the weekend.
With there being only 2 games this weekend, obviously, our whole not betting against each other has become quite difficult.
It's hard, man.
So I tried to find a bunch of plays that, were very neutral that, Ricky could go and be like, oh, well, at least I have options. So my first pick is in the Eagles Niners game, and I'm really going to bank on Brock Purdy not being able to throw the ball around very much, or there being really any throwing the ball around at all. It's going to be Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy combined under 475.5 total passing yards. Like you said last week, I think Purdy had like 215 yards passing. The Eagles didn't throw the ball all that much either. They're going to need each guy would need 240 passing yards apiece for this to not hit. I just don't see that really happening. As with the Cowboys and Niners game last week, 2 really good defenses I think they're going to kind of struggle to score some points in this game on both ends. So yeah, that's my first pick. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy combined under 475.5 passing yards.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that the this weekend spreads are 49ers are traveling to Philadelphia. 49ers are getting 2.5 points. Eagles are favored by 2.5. Over-unders at 45.5. Bengals, that line's now moved to the Chiefs minus 1.5. That line, Clarkson,
has been all over the place.
It has gone from 3 points in favor of the Chiefs all the way to plus 1.5 Bengals to +1 Bengals, but and then now it's always swung back in the favor of the Chiefs, who are now 1.5 point favorites. Because the thing about it was, if this was still plus money, or if the Chiefs were plus anything, I was going to hammer them today as one of my bets. But they've swung it a full 3 or 4 points again in favor of the Chiefs. So it's quite interesting to see that line fluctuate as much as it has. Over under sits at 48.5. I'm going to go with a play that my guy went with last week and didn't hit. Obviously, we're going to go down a little bit in yardage just because he didn't hit that play last week. But I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk over 47.5 receiving yards. Although I do agree with Clarkson and saying that the yardage total is not going to be very high, I do think there's going to be some big plays in the game. You're talking about a number that Ayuk had hit 4 straight games and 5 of the last 6. And then if you go even further back, it's like 6 of the last 8 for this 47.5 number. But I just don't see him not hitting this number this week. Points are going to have to be scored. It might not be at a high volume. Both of these teams are very good at running the ball as well. But I could foresee something where, Ayuk, that number is a full 7 yards down from what you grabbed at last week. So that's a massive difference. You know what I mean? 1 week can, I think he had 26 receiving yards last week. So the shift was pretty big from this week to last week. So that's another reason why I really like it, is that shift is that 47.5. And crazy enough, it's at plus 100. So I like that bet quite a bit. All right, go on with play number 2, sir.
My next pick, I'm trying to think if we should go just in each game. Whatever. I'm going with another combined receiving yards parlay in the Chiefs-Bengals game. One leg is Jamar Chase once again, over 69.5 receiving yards. And the other one is Kelsey, over 64.5 receiving yards. This is plus 115. And for everything that happened with Stephon Diggs last week, for them to have been in that game, he would have had to have hit that number. Obviously, he didn't, so they weren't. But for the Chiefs to have any chance in this ball game, Travis Kelce is gonna have to, have one of his regular Kelce games, right? Mahomes is on a gimpy ankle. He's not going to be able to make those, superhuman, running around the pocket type plays where, he hits Juju, who's wide open after 10 seconds and running around in the pocket type plays. I think he's going to have to hit Kelce quick, and Kelce hits pretty easily. And obviously Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, going back to their LSU days, have just been joined at the hip. So I love this. I love this parlay, and the fact that it's plus 115 makes it even better. I know I said that last week for Chase Diggs, but I like this one even more.
That bet didn't hit. Makes no sense. 0 cents that bet didn't hit last week. All right, so moving on to my next play. It's crazy to me that you did a lot more of the combined parlays than I did this week, which is normally my thing. I went kind of more straight and narrow type of things, but it's all right. So I will go with a parlay or a weird bet that I'm going to throw out right now. It's on DraftKings. That's where I found this bet. It's something new that we found last week, the week before that. I think the divisional round games. So it's Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, and Travis Kelce, any 2 to score a touchdown. So basically, if any 2 of those guys score a touchdown, your bet hits. It's at minus 110. It's a hell of a bet. Spoiler alert for future picks on the show today. We both have one of these guys scoring a touchdown in the game. Won't say which one. But so that is Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. Any 2 of those 3 can hit, and your bet hits. So, like I said, I found that on DraftKings at minus 110.
Yeah, I'll just go with my pick that is included in that one. I've got Travis Kelce anytime touchdown score. Everything that I just said about the bet that I had just said everything about, it goes into play with this pick. I think he's at minus 115 right now to score a touchdown. It's Travis Kelce. I don't have to explain myself. He's going to score a touchdown. Lock it in. So,
well, that's like the same exact thing that I could say about Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey does have a touchdown of some sort in 7 straight games. So Christian McCaffrey is my anytime touchdown today. He's got a touchdown 7 straight game, but he just has a nose for the end zone. Like that's what with these guys, they just have this nose for the end zone. So it's definitely interesting to see getting this line the way it is. And Mixon's been pretty good too. You know what I mean? Mixon's been pretty good in the red zone.
Yeah, he had 100 plus. He had 100 plus in a touchdown last week.
But yeah, so yeah, I like that play a lot. I got CMC anytime touchdown. So you're up now, Clarkson.
Just to add on top of that, when McCaffrey got traded to the 49ers, I was scared for his fantasy owners just because of the Elijah Mitchell factor. And you think that to keep McCaffrey healthy, he might not get a lot of red zone touches or even goal to go touches. That just flat out didn't happen. He's getting more carries, I think, within 5 yards than he ever had in Carolina. But anyway, my next pick is Patrick Mahomes over 25.5 completions. I think this is minus 110. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, which we'll tease for my lock of the week. But they're going to have to throw the ball with the Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are scared at all. I think they're going to go into Burrowhead and try and win their 4th straight game against the Chiefs. And for the Chiefs to actually win this game, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to throw the ball around. Like I said, he's on 1.5 ankles basically at this point, and he's going to have to stand in the pocket. He's not going to be able to run around a ton. He's not going to be able to give you those 15, 20-yard scrambles that he does, 2 or 3 times a week. And he's going to have to get the ball out quick. So give me Pat Mahomes over 25.5 completions.
When I first was like, when you first sent this to me, I didn't know if I liked it or not. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I'm not sure. But then again, quick passes are going to be the name of this game today, based on him not being able to, like you said, run around the way he's typically used to running around. The thing about it is we've seen videos where he's been jogging around practice and stuff. It's a difference between jogging around practice and getting hit full on in game. And somebody landed on the ankle or somebody, you've got to understand that an opposing team who's trying to make it to the Super Bowl, they're not going to, I wouldn't say they're going to,
target
the ankle, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not going to try their best to, waver off of making sure.
It's not a Greg Williams in New Orleans type bounty situation, but they're aware of his ankle.
Exactly. So I do think that factors in, and that to me favors the over in the completions because of that. So, all right. So where are we at here? We got what? 3 more plays. Okay. I got Pacheco over 47.5 rushing yards. I just want to throw this out here and say, I don't understand why they have not run the ball more with this guy, or gotten him the ball in space, because that run last week that basically sealed the deal in the game was one of the more impressive runs I think I've seen in all of the playoffs. That dude is fast. He is super fast. And I didn't realize how fast he was until that play, but it kind of blows my mind how he just hasn't had the ball more. I do think they're going to try to rely and set up the run a little bit early on to try to get the ball moving. But 47.5 yards doesn't seem like a lot. I don't even think that this game has to be, if it's high scoring, whether it's low, it doesn't matter. I think 47.5 is very achievable. I think he could probably get half of that on one rush this week. You know what I mean? The Bengals are pretty good against the run, but that said, we're talking about 50 yards, 48 yards basically. I think that that's a very achievable goal for Pacheco. And I think that he clears this one with ease this week. What's your next play?
Yeah. Which always weirds me out how a lot of like mock drafters have the Chiefs taking, a guy like Bijan Robinson at the end of the first round. Why? They keep finding. They did that 3 years ago with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and you look how that worked out. He was all right, but they find a guy in the 6th round like Pacheco. Why would they take a first-round running back? Anyway, my next pick is another parlay. It's sitting. It was at plus 100 when I got it. I'm not sure what it's at right now, but I'm going to preface this by saying that I saw a stat that San Francisco's gone 27 straight games without allowing a 70-yard rusher. So the first half of this parlay is Miles Sanders under 64.5 rushing yards, and the other half is Devonta Smith over 49.5 receiving yards. For as much money as they paid A.J. Brown when they traded for him, Devontae Smith has really become the number one in this offense. He had a huge game against the Giants last week, and Jalen Hurts has really, been looking for him. I think he's averaging like 8 or 9 targets a game over his last like seven games. He's getting the ball, and he's probably one of the fastest guys in the NFL. And if you're telling me that he can't hit 50 receiving yards on any given play, even just one catch, he can take that and get it on one catch. So yeah, that's plus 100. Miles Sanders under 64.5 rushing yards, and Devonta Smith over 49.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, so what I love about this particular bet is the fact that Devontae Smith could end the game with like 2 catches for like 60 yards easily. You know what I mean? Like it could be, yeah. I like that game is, and we can talk about it a little bit like before we go, but that game, I have no feeling for it at all. Like I genuinely don't like, that's why you haven't heard me bet this game, like any of the game. Like I genuinely have no feeling for that 49ers game. Like I have no clue what the fuck's going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm going to save my 10-point teaser for last. So we'll go Bengals. All right. So this is a parlay. I think it hits at minus 120, I think it was. Or minus 110, but Bengals over 17.5 team total and over 7.5 first half points. I just want to say that Vegas really screwed me over this week with a lot of the bets that I wanted to go to, because the Bengals first half total without, flexing it or putting it in a parlay is 10.5, which I really don't love, because, that means they got to, I wanted at least the comfort of a touchdown and an extra point. You know what I'm saying? But they weren't going to give me that this week by giving it 10.5. So I had to dig in the bag of trips because I don't know, just because. So I got the 17.5 team total, which I think they clear with ease. The 7.5 first half points. I think the Bengals are going to get up early in this one and force the Chiefs to kind of try to come from behind, whether they do or not, whatever. But yeah, I really believe that the Bengals are going to. I mean, they're going to score. They're just the team that scores fast and often. So 7.5 first half points is nothing, and 17.5 total points I think is just a no-brainer for me. So that parlay together for a solid number. So, all right, what is your last play of the week?
Teased this earlier. This is my lock of the week, whatever you want to call it. Chiefs Bengals over 47.5. When I sent this to Ricky, I think it was at the total was at 48. So I flexed it down half a point because we do not stand even totals or whole number totals. Yeah. Going into this game, everybody's going to be talking about how it's been 27-24 Bengals for 3 straight games, which, if you guys have been following along, I can do math very well. 27 plus 24 is 51 points. So if history repeats itself for a 4th straight game and it's 27-24, whether it's Bengals, whether it's Chiefs, who cares? We're just rooting for points in this game. Over 47.5, give it to me.
I was going to say, let me go look at the DK Squares thing for the end of the game, 7-4, plus 2,200 on both sides of that. So if you want to get frisky, all right. So my last pick of the week before we go into, and these are our final thing is going to be 0. It's just going to be vibes at the end of the show here, just who we think is going to win this weekend's games. But all right. So my final play of the week is going to be a 10-point teaser. It gets you the 49ers at plus 12.5. It gets you the Bengals at plus 11.5. And then with all of that, you get for your final part of the parlay, you get the over under for the Bengals at 38. So I like that bet quite a bit. You get it at minus 120. So you got the Bengals, 49ers, and then of course you got the Bengals plus 11.5, 49ers plus 12.5, and then the Bengals over 38. So that's a pretty good parlay, paying out at minus 120, which I actually like quite a bit. Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, I think none of these games are going to be blowouts as is. You know what I'm saying? I feel like these both are going to be close games. Watch me be completely wrong on one of those formats. I don't know which one it'll be, but I just have like I said, I have no feeling about this 49ers-Eagles game, but I think the 49ers plus 12.5 is a no-brainer. I don't think the Eagles blow them out. No chance in hell I think that happens this week. So with that said, all right, Clarkson, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think? Now, look, I want to throw this out here. We have a bet open right now that we've had since December the 4th. No, sorry. December 14th. I threw on the 49ers versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, we, of course, since hedged that bet, because we're smart men like that. You know what I mean? But who do you think wins today's football games?
Spoiler alert. You hedged that bet. I forgot to. Yeah, you texted me that in like I was doing something at work and I was like, all right, I need to remember to do this. And then it was like a week later after, I think it was before the divisional round. And you're like, all right, let's hedge and do this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then those games happened, and I was like, shit, I forgot to do that. But
the odds have now since changed, too, so that's fun.
I figured they would have. I think, in my head, no way that the Bengals beat the Chiefs for a fourth straight game, right? Like, that's what I got in my head. But, I mean, the Bengals are really fucking good. And Joe Burrow is just the right amount of cocky. Yeah. Fuck, man. I think it's probably, my head says Eagles Chiefs, but my heart says I want to see Jalen Hurts play Joe Burrow in a Super Bowl because I think it would be funny as hell as a rematch of that 2019 SEC Championship game or the SEC No, Tua was starting at that point. But anyway, I don't know. All right. Eagles, Chiefs, final answer.
Eagles, Chiefs, final answer. All right, we're going to bring a guest picker in here.
Let's go.
Come on, Collar. What do you got?
Obviously, we got the Niners because they already got their Super Bowl ring, the Super Bowl ring.
There we go. We got the Niners versus
the Bengals.
Niners versus Bengals. And then who wins that game?
Obviously, the Niners.
Niners. So you're going Niners Super Bowl.
Niners all the way.
All right. So Niners all the way.
They're going to get some of these.
Are they?
Yeah.
What's the final score of the Eagles 49ers game?
1,000,000-0.
1,000,000. What about the Bengals Chiefs?
Bengals 2 and the Chiefs 0.
Bengals 2, Chiefs 0. All right. Well, thank you for
They're
your
going to
picks.
win by a safety.
Win by a safety. Look, that would be the greatest win in history.
I would laugh so hard if that actually happened.
I am going to go, man.
You can get 49ers minus 11 at plus 497 if you want.
Really? 49ers minus 11. Holy shit. That'd be a hell of a spread, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if it's going to be 1,000,000 to nothing, you might as well hit it.
You might as well go that high. You know what I mean? Throw 5 on it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go. Man, I'm going Bengals 49ers. I really do think the Chiefs. I agree. I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game, though. I do think the Chiefs are going to win. I just want the Bengals to win. So it's just the preference of what I want to see. And no offense to the Eagles, but I'd rather not see them in the Super Bowl. But so yeah, we will be back at some point.
I don't know. I think it would be kind of funny to watch Philadelphia burn to the ground if they lose in a Super Bowl.
I mean, it almost burnt to the ground whenever they won the Super Bowl. So I don't like to talk about that Super Bowl. So That said, follow Clarkson on Twitter at Clarkson, Chris Clarkson91. Follow myself at Ricky Blair _
Don't follow Ricky.
What I am uncertain of, we will have a Super Bowl show. We're just trying to work out the details and the kinks of all of those things. But yeah, thanks to our special guest this week, special guest Hector, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Catch you guys later.